Domestic trips, like for example Goa, like 3-4 days in Goa will cost you like, I have taken the average cost to be around my home loan EMI that everybody talks about the high salaries in big tech, right? But what does it actually cost to live the life of a software engineer in a city like Bangalore? What are the actual expenses? How much do you end up saving and how much goes away? So let's get into it. Hey everyone, it's Satvik. So today's video is going to be a bit different. It's not about my income, it's about my expenses. I'm going to try and give you a transparent breakdown of my expenses living as a software engineer in Bangalore. I'm going to be talking about my rent, my food expenses, my travel expenses, and so on. So let's get into it. So let's start with the biggest expense of all, right, which probably we all face, is the housing. So I live on rent here in Bangalore along with a couple of my friends. So earlier my rent was around 10,000 where I was sharing a room, but we recently moved to a bigger house where I have my own room. So the rent comes out to be around 18,000. Now the range in Bangalore, I've seen people go as, like, earlier it was very cheap for me, it was around 10k, but people pay around 25-30k as well per month to be near their offices and as well. So our office is around 5 to 6 kilometers from this place, which relatively works for us because we travel by bike. So the rent comes out to be 18k, and if you include maintenance and the water bill, you can add an extra 2,000 on top of it. So including everything, that comes out to be about 20k for the month. Obviously, there are some one-time payments that you have to do. You have to pay the brokerage as well as the security. Now, security is usually 3 months of rent in Bangalore. It can be more as well, but we paid 3 months, and the brokerage is a 1 month of rent. Okay, so coming to the next big spend, right? Food. So luckily for us, Google does provide really good meals, all 3 meals, all 5 days of the week, the working days. And but what I end up doing is I don't go to office every day. So on an average, I've seen that I'll go to office 3 days a week. And in those 3 days, I'll have breakfast and lunch there. But dinner, usually I come back and I either order or I make myself. So coming to the expenses, right? So for the purpose of this video, I'll take the average cost of a meal to be around 250 rupees, which is what I've observed. Whether you order or you order groceries and make it yourself, obviously it will be a bit cheaper if you make it yourself. But I sometimes cook, I sometimes order. So what I've done is taken an average of 250 rupees, right? So what I calculated is that if I am working 2 days from home, so I'll take 3 meals of 250 each, which will come out to be 750. And I'll also be having 1 meal at home in the 3 days I work at office, the dinner. So I'll add 750 to that as well. And I'll add the 3 meals of weekend as well. Now, for all of these meals, plus, I have included eating out, plus I've included the groceries that we buy. So this all comes out to be, around 15,000 per month, which is a bit steep, I'd say. But considering that I don't eat as much at home, I think it's fine. Yeah, so this 15,000 will include all of my meals that I do at home, the groceries I get for it, either I cook myself or I order, and this also includes a huge chunk of it is also the eating out part of it, the going out on weekends, having meals with friends and all that. So what I've observed, that I get 15,000 for the month. Alright, so the next big chunk of my expenses comes in the travel section, the daily commutes, the cabs, and the flights back to home and all that. So I'll break it down in 3 sections. So first, so basically I own a bike, and so that really helps me with local commute. I don't spend as much on cabs as people do in Bangalore. So my bike is around 2,000 expenses in a month. The fuel and the occasional cabs, if I include, that will be around 2,000 per month. Now the next big thing which I've factored into the monthly cost is flights. Now I don't go to home every month, but every couple of months I'll go to home, and it'll cost me around 10,000 for the round trip flight. So I have factored in 5,000 as a monthly cost for it. Okay, now coming to the third section is the vacations part of it. So I don't travel. I don't do very frequent small trips. Usually it's a big trip that me and my friends take once in a year, or a couple of trips in a year. So usually if we go international, last year I remember we went to Thailand, and that was it cost us around 70 to 80k per person. And domestic trips, like for example Goa, 3-4 days in Goa will cost you 20-30K, something like that, right? So again, to factor that in my monthly cost, I have taken the average cost to be around 6,000 rupees. And then if you add all these up, I think it comes out to be a 13,000 spread on a monthly basis, right? All right, so let's jump into the next section, which is lifestyle and shopping. So by lifestyle, I basically mean the sports that I play, and sometimes we'll go to badminton, so we'll book the courts, and so I'm pretty active in sports. I play badminton, football, swimming, and I do these frequently. So what I've done is I bought a cult pass for the Fitso, which is like the sports section that Cult provides. So that cost me around 12,000, I think, for the year, which includes swimming, badminton, and another sport. So that I factored into 1,000 rupees per month, and I'll also go with friends occasionally, so that we'll have to book separately. So that costs around 200, for a session of 1 or 2 hours. So that I've taken if I go 4 times a month on the weekends. So that is also 1,000 rupees. So this is like 2,000 for the sports that I'm doing in a month. Okay, and for the next part, I think shopping, this is like obviously variable, but I've seen something or the other keeps popping up that that you might need to buy, and I think I've seen that on an average I spend around like 5,000 per month on this. And this is not something that happens every month, but again, some big expense will come up, so I have factored that in as a monthly cost as 5,000, right? Okay, so these were all the categories that come into my expenses. Now after this, the next is my investment strategy. So what I basically do with the money that is left is I follow a 70-30 approach. 70% I try to invest, and 30% I try to keep as a liquid opportunity fund. So if you don't know, like opportunity fund is just a term. It basically just means that you keep that money liquid in your bank for some opportunity that comes up in the market, or if there is a great dip that happens in the market and you're able to buy things at a discounted price. So for that, you'll have to have money right at that point of time. So I keep some of that for this purpose. And the 70% that directly goes into investments. I have my home loan EMI that I've talked about earlier, and even the production of these videos is has a monthly cost of around 10 to 15,000. So that also I'm considering as an investment, although I'm counting that money as something that I'll never get back. But yeah, it's an investment into the channel, and it's a must. So yeah, that is also there. And apart from that, everything will go into some mutual fund or some stocks. So yeah, so I follow that 70-30 approach. And yeah, I think this covers the expenses and the investment part of it. Yeah. Okay, so let's put it all together. Here's a quick summary of all of my expenses. Rent is 20,000. Food costs me around 15,000 a month. Then comes travel, which I've factored into a monthly cost of 13,000 a month. Then comes the lifestyle cost, that is around 2,000, and then this shopping, which is factored into be a 5,000 monthly cost. So it comes out to be a total of 55,000 per month, and I think that is a very realistic number for software engineers living in Bangalore. Okay, so a big disclaimer, right? Expenses are personal, and this is my honest attempt at sharing mine. I obviously aggressively try to save and spend less. But this is what I've seen that I end up spending while also enjoying my life today. So I hope this transparent breakdown was helpful. If it was, please consider subscribing to the channel, and do drop a comment in the comment section as well if you have any questions, or do you want me to talk about something more in detail. And yeah.